Hey there, impzone fam! How is it going today? We're back here again to talk more TNA shenanigans. And well, I would like to have a look at the upcoming ticket sales for Lockdown, because that is the next major show. I don't tend to really look at the TV tapings ever. So I think somebody actually asked, why don't we ever look at the tapings? Because it's like, well, the tapings are important to an extent, but these bigger pay-per-views are just way more important to have a look at and see where we're at with the sales for the tickets um and whatnot. So yeah, I don't really tend to check in with them. Now, there isn't anything currently. Well, I think they might have something on their paid site for WrestleTix, as far as what the ticket sales are actually. But it looks like they've roughly, at least from what I'm seeing on the Ticketek site here, um, that they've sold basically half the seats that they probably had for this show, or mostly half the seats, I would say, probably for this show thus far. They probably haven't opened the other half of the arena or thereabouts, um, like they haven't with a lot of shows, though I don't know. Maybe maybe they did. But a lot of the floor seats have sold. There are only a few floor seats left, so that's pretty good. They've obviously got some of the upper ledge facing the hard cam side seats remaining. I mean, it is a couple of, well, actually, basically a month out now. At this point, basically, well, a bit more than a month actually, but still, to have nearly all your half your tickets that you initially had almost sold out is pretty good. This is like where they, not where they were, but close to where they were with Slammiversary near the end, honestly. Um, or nearer to the end. And we did see at the, well, basically just the day before or the day of, that they sold a lot of tickets basically on walk up or on the day before or what have you. So they might open up the other half of the arena. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, just having the most of the seats, well, half of the seats that you've probably allocated thus far sold, that's pretty good. I don't know how many seats are in this arena. Doesn't really say very much here about it, and I'm not going to count every single seat. I don't know whether there's any other information on this. So I can't really see it anyway. But yeah, so that's decent. And when we do the, well, if there's any real updates with this, at least I will say, is that we will try to, whenever they have the upcoming details about what's actually happening at the show, if there's any real big shifts in the tickets, we will have a quick look at them. Or I might just have a quick look and see if there's a big shift, but if there isn't, we will just say, well, maybe they've sold half a dozen tickets more or a few tickets here and there, what have you. I do feel like a lot of the tickets won't be sold until basically the time at which the show is going to happen or is close to happening. And yeah, they have changed the time at which it is going down. So Yeah, that is something to to keep in mind, that the time of the show has changed. So if you're planning on going, um yeah, it's one of those things of, there's a lot of other stuff going on, I think, and I don't know whether there's AEW stuff or whether there's um whatever else going on, is like, yeah, sure. But yeah, still, and I don't really care either way. But still, sometimes they have to change things, or do things like that to make things work. So it is what it is. So we will see how we get going with that. And yeah, we will see in the upcoming weeks, whenever I assume that the next set of tapings that they have to start announcing some stuff for lockdown, at least, like, hopefully the main event. And I was talking before about, like, they've had a few, having a few title defenses on the TV of late. So maybe they're like, well, we're trying to defend the title on TV a bit more, so that when we get to lockdown and when we get there, that people aren't so like, oh my God, about, like, having a title defense. It's gonna happen either way, guys. You're not gonna get around saying, oh, we've had all these TV title defenses or whatever else it is, especially when a lot of those matches have been, well, not dud, but, like, they haven't really been built up enough for people to be like, oh yeah, cool, let's see how, this person goes, or let's see how that person goes, because we now feel like, oh, they could be going somewhere, or could be doing something. No, we know, oh yes, it's just a match and it'll be a fine match, I guess, but, like, yeah, clearly this person isn't winning, or that person isn't winning. And maybe you say, well, yeah, this is the start of the story, or whatever else it is as well. So do lower your expectations a little bit in thinking, oh, yes, well, why am I watching this? You're not watching it to see the person who's challenging win the match. You're just watching the match to see, okay, this is going to be a good match, and it's going to start the next part of the story, or the lead into to this part of the story. You're not going to see these things. You're only going to see those things probably on pay-per-view most of the time. So why are you getting bent out of shape and thinking, oh man, why are they showing me this? Like, they're showing you it not just because it's Thursday and they've got to, well, it is, but, like, they have to put things on, but also they're going, okay, this is the start of this story that we're trying to tell. Plus, we want to put on a hopefully very entertaining match, that people will enjoy, So, it's not just saying, oh, this match means nothing. It's saying, oh, well, this match is the lead in to the next chapter. And hopefully that is going there. So yeah, we've only got the one more set of tapings before lockdown. And so the shows that have been taped currently should get us up to, I think it's the 23rd, which is quite a few episodes. So that's two more episodes, I guess. That's not many episodes, honestly, but still, that's quite a few episodes, honestly. So yeah, then we've got I believe it's a live show on the 30th and a taping on the 31st. So I'm assuming also a lot of stuff that's post-lockdown will be taped there. Because, I mean, like, there's the next show that's on August the 27th, actually. So, that's on the 23rd. So that's a live show. Yeah. So obviously they're not taping that much. I think that 30th must be like close to the end of the tournament for the Knockouts TV title. So that must be like the finals being broadcast then. Whoops. So, whoops. Trying to find the right thing here. So 31st. So that would mean, where are we? So August 23rd. So the tapings that happen on August have to be for the 7th, 14th, 21st, and yeah. No, 23rd, sorry. Yeah, 20th. So for three weeks. And then you get 3 weeks. Then you get lockdown. And then you get like the taping that's after that. Yeah, you go from there. Okay. So yeah, but that's where we're at for now. Obviously, again, there's other upcoming shows later in the year, but they're very similar in that same vein. Of like this is what we're doing, and this is the tapings that we've got, and etc. etc. So we will get to those later on in the year. But yeah, I just wanted to come through, have a quick discussion about how we're looking for the ticket sales. There hasn't really been a lot of action and stuff going on in things right now. So it is an interesting place to be in, kind of thing, and you kind of be like, okay, especially with this Knockouts TV title thing going on, it's like, like you've got to be saying, okay, well, how does that make somebody who's going to challenge Zaya at Lockdown? Because again, same thing with Nick Nemeth. How is somebody going to challenge Nick Nemeth at Lockdown? You know what I mean? Even if you're going to do all these things on TV or whatever, or same with Cedric, or same with the Hardys, or whatever. You know what I mean? It's you cannot just have, no challengers for these guys or whatever. So you've got to have a reason to be going. Yeah, like have the difference between, like I said, was sort of saying before, with like having a TV match is like there can be very little build up to a lot of these TV matches. But like that's okay because like this is the build up to something else a lot of the time. But when you get to a pay-per-view, you've got to be building something up. And I don't really care what it is in some ways, but at a certain point you need to be saying, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. And it needs to be a clear, this is what we're going to do, not just, well, we're going to have a bunch of these, multi-man matches and that's it. There's not going to be very many titles on the line. It's just going to be carnage for the sake of carnage. It's like, well, that doesn't really like work. You know what I mean? So, I mean, the Hardys versus the Righteous still feels like something that you probably like working towards because it's just something that makes sense. Though this week it was a bit weird where it's like you have Leon and Ricky Sosa tagging together. Um, um, and I was like, they won and they beat the team that was just the champions. And I said before, are you going to transition, Leon into another role, even for a short period of time, to do something else? I don't really think this is the most amazing transition. Like, there's no real like perhaps behind the scenes or whatever, we know these guys are buddies or whatever else it is, or they've worked together a lot or whatever, and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, there's not much like on TV, like reason or story to be like, oh, this is why we're working together because we're friends, and even just that, just saying, hey, we're sort of friends, we've been friends for years, like whatever. We first met here and da 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 da. We've always had respect for one another because we're both young, hungry lions who are trying to make it in this business or whatever, etc., etc. Some of that would be really helpful to being like, hey, are you guys actually going to team together long term? Even if you're not, even short term, saying, hey, this is why we're teaming together. We both have a common enemy and we both, like yada da, you know. So, yeah, some of that would be good. Just a bit more explanation as to like where we're at, why we're at. And yeah, like it's an interesting situation to be in for some of these things, but yeah. Anyway, guys, I don't think I've got much to say more about it, so we'll wait to see hopefully some builds soon for some of these things. And like I said, I hope that they actually have like proper like challenges to titles rather than just, oh yeah, well, everyone's going to be in all these like multi-men matches or like just faction warfare matches or whatever. I don't mind seeing a few faction warfare matches or whatever, but I want to see, like proper title defenses and stuff happening and whatever else as well. So, like one set of challengers, blah blah blah, or maybe like two or three for certain things, but like, yeah, you want a few people to have a story, and this is going to be like the proper blow off ish for a lot of those. So yeah. Anyway, guys, hope you have enjoyed this one, and hope you join me again in another one.